Whoops. Almost forgot that little bit. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Loreweek. Our first July one. It's going to be a little bit of a short one. Actually, sorry for starting a little bit late. That wasn't really intentional. You might wonder why I've got the camera set up a little bit larger than usual. I want to show off this. This is something that my wonderful stepmother put together for me. And I'm going to try and stand up a bit here so you can see it a little bit better. I know I've got... Maybe if I do this... There we go. You can kind of see it there. Just a little bit. Maybe if we do like at an angle. Like this, maybe. There we go. That's pretty good. You can finally kind of see it. This is stitched right in. This isn't like ink or anything like that. This is actually the thing you do where you take... Oh god, I said like anything. I haven't got a lot of sleep, guys. It's the thing where you weave it, I think is the word I want to use. I don't know. Either way, it looks really cool, and I wanted to show it off on camera. Today, I do have a couple of Gray 17s for you guys. I also have a story, actually, to share about the Gray 17s thing. So, this morning or last night, the two kind of blur, I was working on something. I got a notification on my FF7 rumination. I was like, oh, hey, look, something I can talk about. Because usually when someone goes back to one of my older videos, it's to be negative. So I'm like, sweet, it's going to be another Gray 17. And it was someone praising me for doing a good rumination. Now, that's awesome and all, but my very first reaction was, damn, it's someone giving me a positive feedback. Oh, and then I kind of caught myself there and laughed. But anyways, here, let me shrink the camera again. There's no need for me to be huge like this. So, I do have a couple of actual Gray 17s for you, though. So we've got, there's I only have 3. Oh, and by the way, yes, Fallout Bear, you are correct. We do finally have a subscription button. It's taken forever, I know. But we do have the Twitch sub button. It should be set up. I mean, it was set up yesterday, and it was set up Friday. I've actually had it since Wednesday, but I've only started streaming since Friday. And the... Where's my chat? Ah, shoot, I lost the chat. There we go. And it's awesome. I don't, of course, expect or indeed request any subs from you guys, except for, of course, the free ones that we get via Amazon Prime. So anybody who wants to donate that in, you're totally welcome to, and that's awesome. But if you don't, that's okay, too. Now, we've got Gray 17s, right. I was going down Gray 17s. Where's my list? So, we'll do a build-up thing. We usually do this. So I had a very simple Gray 17, and it basically just said, wow, this is a load of BS with regards to one of my comments. And you might think, well, why does that even deserve to be a Gray 17? It's because, you know, I don't actually know what I get. I think I get $5 out of it, Larian. $5 a month, if I'm not mistaken. The reason I qualify that as a Gray 17 is one of the more frequent comments I get on any of my Voyager or my Babylon 5 videos is that, oh my god, what is this? This is just some guy talking. I was expecting a free copy of the episode on YouTube. Because, you know, because CBS and Time Warner are totally cool with their intellectual property just being tossed out there for free on YouTube. That's the thing, right? Now, of course, the irony of this is there are actually episodes you can find out there that just have some stuff done to them to make them nice and legal. But seriously? And this was a comment in regards to a comment like that, which is why I mentioned that. Oh, God. Hi, Gnarlix. Yes, thank you for waking me up there. And thank you for the donation. So, there's another comment. Now, this is actually an older one, but it came to my attention because for some reason it hadn't been cleared yet. YouTube does that every now and again, and every now and again I make an effort to go and actually try and flush through the queue to make sure that all the comments are going through. This one is a comment on my talks about the recent Ratchet & Clank proper remake. Now, I bring this up. I was very positive about the recent Ratchet & Clank. In fact, I even finally got to see the movie last Tuesday, I think, something like that. Anyways, so I finally got to see that. And I liked it. I very, very, very much enjoyed the recent game. I've also played the original somewhat recently for a similar rumination and found it to be not that great. I didn't think it aged that well. Now, I got a huge amount of negativity on my comments on that one, as I tend to anytime I speak in any negative form whatsoever towards older games. A fun fact, on my Arcanum rumination, I actually got people bashing me for being so negative on the game. Those people obviously didn't actually watch my rumination because I was glowingly positive. In fact, I even recommended modern players pick up Arcanum because I think it is aged properly well. But moving on. So this is the quote I got with regards to the Ratchet and Clank proper remake. And that quote is, and I quote, "I can't even make it to 10 minutes. It's already clear to me that you value big, flashy crap over story." Guys, I'm sorry. I've been lying to you all this time. I am Michael Bay, and all I care about is giant explosions and flashy stuff rather than coherent narrative or structure or story or anything like that. Sorry, guys. My bad. I've been lying to you. I put lore in the name as like a cheat to try and convince people that I care about story, but according to the internet, I don't. As ever, the internet teaches me all sorts of new things about myself every week. Next one. This one's wonderful. This one's great. This one's like a full paragraph, okay? So, hold on to your butts. "It's just painful to watch you play. You call your runs the runs. More like, I don't give a crap runs. I used to think," by the way, this is all one sentence. "I used to think you play games like Dishonored, which is so rich in environmental storytelling, carefully, by paying attention to your surrounding, taking in all the incredible lore. But no, instead, you play like someone who just like whatever everything, accessionally," yes, I'm reading that correctly, "exceptionally picking up some lore material, and that's it. I would go as far as saying the way you play makes your rumination analysis not credible." This was in response to the Dishonored 2 premiere run, for those curious. You know, the one where I gushed about the world building and the character development and the amazing presentation of the stage design, and spent like an hour on each stage. You remember that one? Because I do. Dishonored 2 is actually a Game of the Year contender for me for that year. But no, apparently I just play whatever everything, and play it I don't give a crap runs. That's apparently the new term. Now, I wanted to bring this one up in particular because every now and again I get a comment that it's not just negative, it makes no sense. That's so illogical and so disconnected with reality that I actually don't know what to make of it. I look at it like, wait, what? Like, let me give you another example. This isn't actually technically a Gray 17. Just this morning, though, I got a comment. This isn't a Gray 17. I want to make that clear. This guy's cool. But I got a comment on this morning on my FF8 lore run. And he said, and I quote, "Where are the counters for every time you say, 'I don't care enough,' and 'sorry' when you're cringy?" Now, I actually went into Discord and asked people who'd watched the FF8 lore run recently and was like, "Do you remember anything where I was saying, 'I don't care enough'?" I mean, I did apologize a few times, but, like, I feel like some people who are making these comments and are just in a separate dimension, maybe? Like, they're like halfway here. It's Twilight Zone, you know, they've got a glimmer of the real world, and then they've got everything else going on. I don't even know what to make of comments like these. I really don't. I mean, let me give you an example of what I mean by this, because there's another comment on the FF8 lore run which makes much more sense. That comment is, and I quote, "What were you trying to prove when you put down the controller while playing a hacked, cheated game? You're just being childish." See, that's universally negative. I understand that. Okay? I get that. It makes sense. But then, the other... I don't know. I got nothing. I got nothing, guys. Moving on. Checking for updates. So, we actually only have... Oh yeah, Toxic Lore. I should be Toxic Lore today. Because apparently I am super toxic, guys. Super negative. Actually, if I can... I do actually have a topic here. I really do. Let me get my timestamp for the VOD here. Because I want to address this in a play that most people are actually going to see this. I've never even seen that emote, Arlex. Anyways, I want to address this in a way that most people would see this. Negativity. Now, obviously I have had this problem for about a year or so now. A little under a year. I'd say more like 9 months. Where I would speak negatively about a work and then be bashed for it, and then have people just attack me for it, and just drag me down and yell at me and scream at me and try and argue fervently that I am wrong for having that negative opinion. Now, that's okay within limits. Like, obviously, I'm totally okay with different people having different opinions. For example, someone in chat, and I didn't catch who, disagrees with me on Ratchet and Clank. Cool, that's fine. I mean, I actually know other people who disagree with me on Ratchet and Clank. I know other people who disagree with me when it comes to a whole lot of things. But let me give you a direct example. I loved FF15. It was very flawed. I think I made it very clear, though, especially in the review I did, that FF15 was awesome. I can't wait to play it again for the Rumination, which is going to be coming in, like, November, I think, with the readjusted schedule. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But anyways, so I looked at it and I'm like, misrepresented BFG? Look, I didn't mean to, Hourglass, I swear. The worm loves us. The worm is all. But seriously, though, all joking aside, I have had people who have basically attacked me for criticizing works. Let me give you a direct example. In FF15, there's a section in the gondola part where the quest markers are over here, and if you pull up the map, it's not particularly clear where you're going or what you're doing or which one you're supposed to interact with. So I go to a clearly, obviously gondola thing, and a stop, and wait for the gondola to stop, and it doesn't, and I'm like, oh, come on! And at this point, I'd already been spending some time trying to find my way about this damn town, so I was already in a bit of an irritable mood. So I flat out, after I made a second attempt after that, which also failed, I flat out called it bad design. And I don't remember actually if I gave it a negative for that, but I did flat out call it bad design. People came after me for that. People straight up came after me for that. I want to remind you, once again, that I love FF15, and just because I have a criticism or a negative comment about things does not mean I don't like it. I actually had to start up an entire new series called Keeping Perspective just to make this point because it had become so prolific on my show with people being like, oh my god, where I spent like 8 hours criticizing all the flaws of FF6, my favorite game of all time, just to make the point. I, of course, still get comments like this. Not everyone is going to see the Keeping Perspective series, but that's why I'm talking about it here. Pro tip. Because I say something negative about something, because I say a criticism about something, does not mean I hate it. Because I sit down and get irritated at a part of a game, or get frustrated at a part of a game, does not mean I hate it. Because I rant about something, does not mean I hate it. I know it's the internet, and most other people do that, but I am not most other people, and I can prove this because it's on camera. I'm going to give you another direct example, other than FF15, which I just gave. FF13. I know what you're thinking. Oh my god, you were super negative during FF13. No, I really wasn't. Like, go back and watch it, especially towards the end. When you get to the very end of FF13, when we finally took down the boss, and it was like, ah, finally got him. And then we saw that ending, and I was talking about the consequences. I was like, man, that, you know, that was still a net positive. I still actually enjoyed going through that game. You remember that? Because I do. I was a little tired at the time because I was pushing. That was at the tail end of the lore run, but I still was positive about FF13. Net positive, even, about FF13. You remember that? That's on camera. I can prove that. FF8, another good example. A lot of people tend to forget that I defend FF8 a lot. I do think the gameplay is garbage, but I like FF8. I actually want to replay FF8. Because I like FF8. I'm looking forward to going through with cheats so I don't have to worry about the gameplay that I don't like. You know what? There's a game out there I've criticized called FFT. Final Fantasy Tactics. I love that game. But that is an immensely flawed game. With so many issues of the gameplay that I have had to sit down. This is not a joke. I've had to sit down with my friend Pax, who is also a big FFT junkie. And the two of us have hashed out strategies for basically ignoring the gameplay of that game. Strategies for dealing with all of the problems in the mechanics, or the construction of the levels, or the scaling problem, or any of that stuff. Specific strategies of leveling and building your crew just to deal with the flaws of the game. Does that mean I hate FFT? But there's one other thing I want to comment on this. I'm so sorry, Mandartin. I'm sorry to confuse you. Thank you, Seed. I want to mention one other thing, because this is relevant. When I was younger, when I was a young man, I was made an offer. Sorry. When I was younger, when I was pretty new on this whole doing an internet show thing, I was a lot more hesitant about being honest. I don't mean like, oh man, I'm going to lie to you guys constantly, although there was the age thing, which I had to stop doing. But what I mean by that is I was more hesitant about giving my honest opinion. I didn't want to just sit out and be like, hey. And so I tried to be more neutral towards things, more diplomatic towards things, rather than pointing out positives or pointing out negatives or whatever, because I didn't want to... Because I was an idiot, I'll just put it that way. Because I spent too much time and effort caring about what other people might think about my opinion. I don't do that anymore. I have become an old man. And as a consequence of becoming an old man, you can tell, don't I look old? As a consequence of that, I'm not going to hide my opinion anymore. I'm not going to try and be like, well, I don't want, you know, people to dislike me. Let me give you a direct example here. BioShock. I was fairly positive when it came to my BioShock rumination, and that's because I pretty much just focused on the things that I found positive in the development of BioShock. For those of you not aware, I don't like BioShock. In fact, I actively dislike BioShock. It's in a net negative situation. However, you probably wouldn't get that from my overall rumination, would you? This actually came up a few months ago. Someone commented, was like, man, are you looking forward to the new BioShock? And I said, no, of course not. And they're like, what? I thought you loved BioShock. Because they'd seen my rumination on BioShock. So, yeah, I was going to say, one of the only times back in the day that I was expressly honest was with regards to the Mass Effect situation. It's probably the only time I really just opened myself up there. And what's funny is I got a lot of flack for that, and then pulled back on that honesty. Whatever. Anyways. I'm going to be... If I don't like something, I'm going to say it. I am going to try and make an effort to be diplomatic about it. I don't always succeed about that, but I am human, unfortunately. I'm also a Time Lord, but that's unrelated. As we know, Time Lords and humans are actually the same race, but I don't want to get into that. Point being, I am going to be honest about things I don't like. I'm going to be open about things I don't like. Because just because I don't like them doesn't make them bad, and just because I don't like them doesn't mean you have to like them or dislike them. Oh, and by the way, Gnarlix, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I recently encountered a real echo chamber. I don't mean like a physical, I mean like there was a forum that showed me just what an echo chamber is really like, and that made me very much appreciate you guys for not being that. Because that freaking... I don't actually have words for it. It was actually kind of disgusting going through that forum. I have seen what a real echo chamber is like now, and I don't ever want to see one again. Moving on. Next point. Who wants to talk about the SNES Mini? Wow, I spent 18 minutes, or excuse me, 9 minutes rambling about that. Well, that's why I had to get rid of it, Mandartin. Why do you think I'm the only Time Lord? So, SNES Mini, right? First of all, I wanted to talk about a couple things. Shut up, Scene. There's a thing coming out. Actually, I haven't talked about this, really. It's called the SNES Mini, SNES Classic. It's coming out, woo. I actually have several... I have several comments about it. I mostly wanted... I don't actually have a lot to say, especially since it's not out yet, but first of all, I want to say congrats to Darkrai for actually getting one. For those not aware, it's not actually available for pre-order here in the States yet, and that's because it doesn't have FCC approval yet. Now, that's not actually a big surprise. It's a very normal thing. This actually is so normal that this affects pre-orders for just about any form of electronics out there. Because what usually happens is, if you go out to get FCC approval, that's nice and public, and then people hear about your announcement ahead of time. So they do the announcement, then they seek FCC approval, and it takes 3 to 12 weeks, I want to say, in order to get FCC approval. And then once that's done, then they can put it up for pre-order. So we're probably not going to see it for pre-order here in the States for a while. It's the same reason you can't get an Xbox 9 right now, actually. So... Grats to our British citizens for not having the FCC limitations there. But, oh yeah, I want to talk about Jade Empire as well. I forgot about that. Anyways, yeah, there's ways to import from Japan. I just don't care. I'd kind of rather have an English version. Anyways, second thing I want to comment on is, it is my honest opinion that this is what they were building to anyways. Because this is what is most popular amongst Nintendo consoles, not counting handhelds. For those of you not aware, the most popular console of Nintendo that Nintendo's ever made is actually the Nintendo DS. By a large margin. It's one of the most widely accepted and best-selling consoles of all time, even when stacked up against, like, PlayStations and main consoles and all that fun stuff. But regardless of that, the SNES is pretty high up there, and is pretty high up. I mention this because the NES certainly had a lot of nostalgia to it, and certainly launched, you know, the current video gaming era, and started a lot of industry and blah, blah, blah. But if you were paying attention, the NES Classic didn't have the greatest selection of games on it. In fact, it had some genuinely, games on it. Now, there are a couple of reasons for that, and I've actually already discussed that, so I don't want to go over that again. But what I want to mention is that the SNES Classic has an absolutely amazing collection of games on it. I mean, really, there's a lot of really good selection here. And that, to me, means they bothered to actually take the time and effort to go and not only procure the ROMs for these things, but this is more important, to procure the legal rights to resell them. And that is always the actual problem with legally emulating games like that, is getting the rights to license it. Yeah, as Darkrai says, licensing is a big deal for this. So the fact that they actually bothered, the fact that they actually made the effort with regards to the SNES Classic, speaks volumes, in my opinion, for how much more they're putting into this one. Now, we've also heard several people, and I mean, like, we've heard Reggie say this, we've heard people at Nintendo Japan, we've heard people at the distribution centers all say they're making more SNES Classics. They're making way more SNES Classics than they are NES Classics. And that is probably true. I wouldn't be too surprised if it is still not enough to meet demands. I suppose only time and retrospect will be able to tell us exactly how much better of a job they're doing in producing the manufacturing side of this. We'll see. I mean, British... Darkrai, how quickly did the British initial supply sell out? You were watching that when it was happening, and I forget the exact time. It was very short, I remember that. Or should I say the UK? I tend to default to the term British as an adjective for the Isles. I don't mean any offense by it. Don't jump down my throat. Well, that's my point, Psychotic. That is literally my point. I think the NES Classic... 15 minutes. The SNES sold out in 15 minutes in the pre-orders over in the Isles. Yes, there will be a finite amount. They are not going to be producing any past January. It's just going to be this year, and that's it. At least until they re-release it in 5 or 10 years. So, yeah. So I am actually going to make an effort to get one, mostly because I am a little bit of a collector and I kind of want to. I mean, why not, right? And it does have a good selection, as we previously mentioned. I'm not going to list that selection. What I've been doing, just as a heads up... Well, actually, I'm not going to say that. It doesn't matter. I've just been watching it. We'll see. I don't actually expect to get one, but I will make the effort. I did manage to get a Switch. That took some effort. It does have Star Fox 2. This will actually be the first official release of Star Fox 2 ever. How's that for a weird thought? I will probably go ahead and stream Star Fox 2 just to showcase it for you guys, because I imagine several of you haven't even seen Star Fox 2, but otherwise. Another thing I want to talk about the SNES Mini is where they go from here. Obviously, they're going for just kind of a collector's edition sort of a thing with this. Otherwise, they wouldn't limit the production. They wouldn't have a limited print run. So, how far do they go? What's the next step? In other words, do you think there's going to be an N64 Classic? Now, the most usual argument I see to know that this is not going to happen is the fact that the SNES Classic, or excuse me, that you know, N64 games are already on the Virtual Store, right? Virtual Console. So there's no reason to release it as a physical box. Except that argument falls flat because a lot of those NES games and SNES games are also on Virtual Store. So it's obviously they have no problems re-releasing it. And since this is obviously something where they're just kind of pushing out things as a nostalgic collector's item thing, I think it's pretty likely actually we will get an N64 one. What I want to know is if we're going to get a Game Boy one. What do you guys think? Because I don't... They might go as far as GBA. Because as of right now, with the current system, you can't play GBA or GB games unless you have the virtual console version of those games, or go to an older system. So if they released, for example, a GBSP, which could play the GBA games and the original Game Boy games, classic, I mean, something that's at least on the table, I would say. As for Sega, probably Tigzar. I mean, they've actually kind of already been doing that. Remember when they released Sonic on, like, every system a few years ago? Oh, I know, Darkrai. I know. I thought I mentioned that. Maybe I didn't mention that. Whatever. It'll be very curious, regardless, and I am probably going to do it. A non-handheld? That's an interesting question, and I don't know. But I do think it would be kind of awesome if they managed to make it so that you could have, for example, a Game Boy Classic with an HDMI output, which properly upscales with pixel-perfect ratio up to, you know, the big screen, because that'd be kind of cool. Regardless, I am weirded out as ever by Nintendo's decisions. Sometimes they do things that make perfect sense, sometimes they do things that are completely bonkers, and sometimes they do things that make me want to punch them. So, I don't even know at this point, guys. Also, by the way, just as a heads up, since I already seen some questions about it, we are not going to be doing Multiplayer Sunday this day or week. And in fact, we're not going to be streaming until next Sunday, because we're going to be rehosting and covering the marathon of SGDQ 2017. So that's going to be starting in a bit. I actually need to adjust a few things for that. But regardless, there will be some awesomeness coming in the future. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I will be in the chat if you want to watch it without having to sit there and just turn off the chat or have incredibly horrific chat flying by at the speed of light. You are welcome to watch it here with us. Give me just a second. I'm actually pulling something up really quick here. I actually agree, Scene. Nintendo has been doing a lot better in terms of their financial side of things. What I have to say, if I may be so bold, I liked the Wii U. Now, let's be clear. The Wii U absolutely did screw up what the world? Oh, God, SGDQ's site is actually down right now. That's hilarious. Anyways, I liked the Wii U a lot. I feel like it had a lot of good games, and I don't regret that at all. Now, granted, it wasn't a purchase. It was actually a donation from Spirit, who I've never forgotten about that. Sitting right here next to me, actually. But I loved the Wii U, and I think it was absolutely worth it, and worth buying the games for it. And it's funny that Taquita says that, because I would actually defend the Wii U based on the game library. But then again, maybe I'm one of the outliers. Now, the real problem with the Wii U was the fact that its marketing was terrible, and they really, really had issues. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys watched the initial, very first announcement of the Wii U, where they weren't even... They were so unclear, and it was not well edited, it was not well presented. A lot of people thought it was just an additive to the Wii. You know, there was a lot of issues with the marketing of the Wii U, and I think that's a damn shame, because I stand by my statement that the Wii U had a great library. You know, just my opinion. You may feel free to disagree, as indeed I'm cool with that on my show. Damn it, Gary, stop making my stream lag. And what's funny, if I may say one last thing about the Wii U, I was one of those people who looked at the controller and was like, oh, that's terrible, this controller right here. When I finally actually played it and sat down with it in my hands, this is like one of the most comfortable controllers I've ever seen. Like, this is really nice. This is probably, I'd say, my second or so favorite controller that Nintendo's ever produced. And this is awesome. It's got this, it's got this. It just fits perfectly right here in the hands. You can just relax, you know. And of course, it's wireless. It's not heavy at all. It's super not heavy. Haha, Fallout. Now, that being said, they have, of course, improved that, because, in my opinion, the Switch's controller is even better. But I've already talked about that, and I don't feel like going over that. Moving on, we're just kind of talking about that. Let's move on to our next news point. Who here wants to talk about Mass Effect? No, my favorite controller is the Switch, and I can even demonstrate it really quick. This is my favorite controller design right here, is when I've got the two Joy-Cons, and they're separate, and I can just play however. This is amazing. I love playing like this. This is not a joke. This is not exaggeration. This is the best way I've ever played video games that doesn't involve a mouse and keyboard, ever. That is awesome and amazing. So, Mass Effect. So, I want to get this as clear as I can. Oh, really, Fallout? Well, then there you go. You have made my point for me. And no making fun of, by the way. It is Nintendo's fault for really screwing up the marketing of the Wii U. Anyway, so I want to get this clear. So Andromeda came out, and then they basically pulled the plug on the Mass Effect series. And then we knew they were still working on DLC. That's the first thing we heard. They're still working on DLC, okay? Then we got a report that they weren't going to be doing single-player DLC, most notably the Quarian Arc DLC, the one they actually mentioned in the game, in the ending. That's not a spoiler. They flat out say, hey, by the way, Quarian Arc, hand. So everyone's like, okay. Then, shortly thereafter that, there came a report... Oh, wait, hang on. I've lost my place. This is such a stupid mess. So first game came out, then they canceled the Mass Effect series, but then they said they were working on DLC, but then they were mentioning how they weren't going to be doing any future DLC, but then that proved to be false, so they were working on DLC, but then we have had a further rumor that they are not working on single-player DLC, and I think this is the full chain. I want to make sure we got the full chain here of yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, I believe is how that goes. Now, we have ended on a no. The final step is on a no, but I want to make this 100% clear. This is still not 100% confirmed. This is still in the rumor category. We still don't actually know if we're getting single-player DLC out of Andromeda. And all attempts to get an official reaction, an official response, have failed miserably. People who actually have, you know, media passes or media access or whatever have been going to BioWare Montreal and to EA and being like, hey, and the response has been nothing. This would actually be, if we do land on the no, if we keep pulling petals off the flower and we end up on no, this would be the first time ever that Mass Effect has not had a single-player DLC. Think about that for a minute. Now, I don't want to be saying this as a way to bash Andromeda. I think I've made my opinion on that game very clear, and I know some people who are probably watching right now still have an interest in either playing or buying it. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, shrug, right? But I think there's probably a better term for this. But I've seen this happen a lot. It's basically, I mentioned my theory. I know, right, Javin? I mentioned my theory before that MEA was designed to fail. But what's happening with the DLC thing seems a lot more clear in that category. Now, I want to talk this out. I want to explain what I mean by this, because I always use my words wrong, and I'm terrible and stupid. Oh, wait, sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry for being cringy. Sorry. There's a thing that corporate America likes to do, where, for example, I'm going to make up a completely fictitious example. No one will buy globes of the earth to crush in their hands, right? No one will do this. No one. And then someone's like, no, they'll totally buy it. No, they're not going to buy this, okay? No, they'll totally buy it. Okay, fine. Tell you what. We're going to give you less resources than you need to make the product right, less time than you need to make the product right, and less support from management to make the product right. Now go ahead. Make the product, make a crap product, and then we'll see if it sells. And then they make the crap product, and because it's a crap product, it doesn't sell. And then the manager goes, I was right. It wasn't going to sell. That is what I feel is happening with the MEA DLC situation. I would actually bet money at this point that it would be pretty likely we do get a single-player DLC, and that it's crap. And then because it's crap, we won't get any more. Because no one's going to buy it, because it's crap. You see how this works? I have seen this happen in corporate America so many times, it's kind of stupid. I've seen people on an individual level do this kind of thing. That'll never work. That'll never work. Okay, fine. Go ahead and do it. Oh, it didn't work. I was right. God's sakes. You know? This is, of course, just a theory, a lore theory. But I do actually think that's what's happening with the MEA DLC situation. And I don't know what to make of that. Like, what do we do at that point? Do we go ahead and buy it anyways to prove them wrong? Even if it's crap? Do we buy it on the hope that it's not crap? Do we want to support Montreal? I mean, as I've said many times, I feel really, really badly for the developers of MEA. I really do. The actual people who sat down there and coded it. But the problem is, and this is so often a thing, it's not like I can go and support the developers. All I can support is the company selling the product, and that's EA. And that's, you know, the overall BioWare umbrella, which itself doesn't even exist anymore, but whatever, you know. The BioWare label and the EA umbrella. That's all I can support. So do we do this? Because as SJ points out, there's another flaw to that. If we go ahead and support them, they might assume, they might learn the wrong lesson. Oh, well, we can just keep making crap and it'll sell. Cough, cough, Transformers movies. I mean, I hate to point that out, and if you like the Transformers movies, that's great. But the Transformers movies make a lot of money, and it has been on record that that's one of the reasons why the executives don't really bother trying with several aspects of the Transformers movies. Because why bother? It's still sold, right? Yeah. Yes, EA is the umbrella corporation. One more thing, sorry, right. I did have another thing to mention here about BioWare. There was an interview with Mark Laidlaw pretty recently, this last week, where they talked about three things. One of which was the lack of single-player DLC that I mentioned. The other things I want to talk about here, just real quick. First of all, they have no intention or design to work on Jade Empire 2 anytime soon. They were actually asked point blank about Jade Empire 2, and the response was, nope, we're working on Dragon Age 4. Speaking of which, the other thing I wanted to mention is that both from discussions from Laidlaw and a couple of tweets, they have been teasing the production work on Dragon Age 4, which apparently they are actively working on as of now. That is not 100% confirmed, that's just the usual developers teasing what they're working on, but the thing I find most interesting is that means the Dragon Age team is the one who most likely will be the one assigned to a Jade Empire 2, if indeed such a thing is ever to come to be. And of course they're working on DA4, which we already knew. Of course they're going to call it Dragon Age 3. They're wrong, but that's what they're going to call it. I'm never letting that go, by the way, ever. I may love the Kingdom Hearts series, and I love the Assassin's Creed series, I like some of the Resident Evil series. Doesn't matter, they still get their numbering scheme completely wrong. Oh yeah, and then there's Anthem. Which, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I don't even know if I'm going to be doing a premiere run of Anthem yet. I need more information to judge that. Because if Anthem really is The Division, then I am not doing a premiere run of that. That's not on the list. Well, that's also not 100% confirmed, Prog, but everyone involved in the development team has been talking about Dragon Age 3, which is the one they're working on after Inquisition. Which is funny, because that'll mean the series is Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age Inquisition, Dragon Age 3. I mean, we make fun of Kingdom Hearts for their strange naming schema, but what the hell? I don't even know what to make of that. Don't even know what to make of that. Anyways, I have the Exalted Imperium. Oh, no. Jade Empire. You'd be surprised how many people haven't even played Jade Empire. To be 100% honest, I barely remember Jade Empire. And I don't mean that as a derogatory, it's just, I played it once, when it came out, and I haven't actually played it since. And I don't remember it that much, or that well. You know, it's nothing against it, it's just, I remember liking the open palm and the closed fist, I remember that. Yeah, Fallout 4, the 7th game in the series, another excellent example of that. Assassin's Creed 4 was, I think, the 13th game in the series, something like that. Anyways. But no, Jade Empire is not one of their bigger names. it is actually probably one of the smaller games that BioWare has put out ever. In fact, I would say it probably is actually the smallest game they've ever put out because, you know, the Faerun stuff they worked on, that has the backing of D&D and Wizards of the Coast going behind it. And, of course, Mass Effect and Dragon Age were both knockout successes. KOTOR was the breakout success, etc. Sixth? Oh, hang on. So we got Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood. I feel like there's another one. What was the one after Brotherhood, or before Brotherhood? Because then there was Revelations. And then there was 3. Right? God, now I actually can't remember. I also probably shouldn't count the Gaiden games, the DS games, and the portable games that they came out with before 4. Okay, so it's 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm probably thinking of the Resident Evil example. My bad, guys, I'm getting my numbers wrong. I think it's Resident Evil 4 is the one that's the 13th game in the series, something like that. No, Rogue's after 4. Liberation, that's the one I was thinking of, Liberation. I just had the ordering wrong. Liberation's the handheld one. Anyways. Who here wants to talk about nostalgia? Oh, wait, no, let's not talk about nostalgia. Let's talk about the fact that I've got a sub button, guys. Anyone want to talk about the fact that I got a sub button, guys? Because I got a sub button, guys. And I have a sub button now. Sub button. It would be nice if I was actually a partner. But let's go ahead and discuss this. So, happy birthday in advance, Necro. You are now an old man and or woman. Whatever it is that you prefer to be. So, first of all, let me go ahead and... I'm sorry, that timing. Wow, Mr. Botland, Darkrai, Novan18, thank you so much for tossing me that Twitch Prime sub. I really appreciate it. As I think I mentioned earlier, but I want to make this 100% clear, since I already have a Patreon, I don't actually request you to sub up to Twitch, unless you happen to have a Twitch Prime sub, because you get a free sub thanks to Twitch Prime. You notice it gives a completely separate message for that, and you don't have anyone else to give it to, like, or you think I deserve it more than the other people you give it to. That's the only way I would request any subs from the Twitch Prime things. So, appreciate it, guys. So as you can see, I set up a new thing for that. We actually saw it a couple times Friday and a couple times, and by a couple times I mean a dozen times, Friday and Saturday. But that's the new GIF. I hope you like it. GIF or GIF, whichever you prefer. We have tolerance for all GIFs and GIFs here. What I really want to talk about is the reality of what that means. So any subs gone in, 50% of that money goes to Twitch, 50% of that money goes to me. I get paid after, I think, 3 months is how the cycle goes. They're weird. For example, all those bit money, I actually haven't been paid for any of that yet, because Twitch just takes forever in order to go through it. You know, Gary, I've heard a lot of people say that same thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is 90 days. I'm almost positive it's 90 days. But so it takes a while to go in, 50%. It does... This is important. Having more subs, even Twitch Prime subs, does actually help broadcast my channel. They have internal metrics that keep track of that kind of a thing. And as they do so, they will Twitch will promote me more, and I will be more likely to get an actual partnership based on having more subs. That is something that they take into account. So it's not like it doesn't matter at all, and it's not like I'm in, it's just that's the major benefit aside from just money, okay? First thing. Second thing, I do get one emote. I get a emote, and it's gonna, I don't actually... I get one emote. Thank you, Wilson. What do you mean, Dakota? No, the sub one is the size of the screen on purpose, Gary. It's because it's the one we're going to be seeing the least often. If you've seen my donation or bit things, they're much smaller. So, moving on. I get one emote, and we have to decide what that's going to be. What do you guys think? I mean, everyone watching this right now is among the demographic that this will affect, the Twitch emote. And we get the emote. We get one, guys. We have to be careful with this. I know what you're thinking. Technically, I get 3, but realistically, no, I actually get 1. So, ideas? I'll toss out the most common suggestion I've already received. I actually made a little Mega Man-styled sprite, excuse me, that I have that I used to use as my. God, I'm really tired. I used to use it as my logo. Nowadays, I use the Imperial symbol as my. I actually can't prog, believe it or not. You're absolutely right. I fiddled with it for a long time. I can't fix it. See, I just said don't do what you just did. Why did you do that? Thank you, Saint. Anyways, the lore sprite. In fact, hang on just a second. If you give me a moment, I can actually show you literally what I'm talking about because I have a nice high scale copy of this thing that I can just show you really quick. Which is this. This is what I'm referring to. This is the lore sprite here. And this is one suggestion. We don't actually have this as an emote right now with the better Twitch TV or whatever hell we got set up. So, thoughts? Yes, that's one other thing I want to talk about, by the way. A lot of people have asked about a custom badge icon, and I was really excited about setting up a custom badge icon. In fact, I was going to use the Imperial symbol coin that I use as my own icon for a lot of things. But the problem with that is I am a person who is not a... I don't have a partnership. I am not a partner. I am an affiliate. And as a consequence of being an affiliate, I don't actually get to do that. Thanks, Gary. So, I'm sorry, guys. You're stuck with the star. I can't give you a custom subscriber badge. I apologize. Out of my hands. If I ever become a partner, I can do that. So everyone's like, oh my god, you need to look at it with hair. Well, it's funny you guys say that because it looks like crap without hair. In fact, it looks like this without hair because I've already done that. Did that months ago. About a year ago, actually. And it looks like crap. It's even updated, if you can tell, it's actually updated to the new outfit, too. Instead of the old nobody cloak, which is what I used to wear. They're actually... It isn't really possible to add a beard. So, yeah, this looks like crap, basically. So, no, I don't like this. That's why I never used it. I made it, and then I hated it. So, if I'm going to use the lore sprite, it is this or nothing. And that's a line in the sand for me. Now, any other ideas that don't involve the lore sprite? Hey, Salder. Because we already have... I don't want to repeat one of my existing emotes. I don't want to do the... I don't want to do, you know, the Lore Kafka. I don't want to do the ME thing, any of that. How often will it be used? That's up to you guys. I don't know. You're the ones who'll be using it, not me. Hashtag screw CBS. I don't know what I'd do with that. Dr. Wiley, we already have that. It's called Lore Not Evil. Someone do a Lore Not Evil really quick so Gary can see it. Remember me. Don't know how I do that. Thank you, Volcanto. No, Valvedrix. Unless you really want that. But he's not evil. Yes, there's all the emotes we currently have, by the way, for those curious. We've got the dice rolling, the doe, the furt, the gilfa, the yeah, the cheering, the kashi, Kefka, Mass Effect, no blocking, no spoilers, not evil, and voot. And thank you, Ginger Locks, for... Why did you do that? Thank you. Can you see them on the screen at least, Chemic? Because I mean, you have to have the add-on to actually see them in your chat. The most disappointing. It is worth noting, by the way, that we could just go with what I was originally going to go with, which was going to be the badge icon. This is basically my own emblem. Real quick, copper, gold, or silver, guys? I'm seeing a lot of silvers. This is the icon I'm referring to. This is actually my icon on a lot of things. It's basically a very crude, thrown-together Imperial coin. And as an aside, I already know this looks well when it's shrunk. Anybody who's on my Discord can see that. And in fact, well, this isn't probably a good representation of it because of the way OBS does scaling, but... Well, yeah, I mean, the overall... Thank you, Mandartin. The overall presentation, there we go, is the grayscale thing, just like everything else I do. I mean, everything I'm wearing right now is black and white. Even my ring is black and white. And of course, the symbol itself. So this is my suggestion right here. If I was just making this decision in a vacuum, I would turn this into an emote. But I do want your guys' honest opinion. Also, as an aside, by the way, while we're in the realm of letting you guys be informed, we will have the option of having subscriber-only chat. I probably will never turn that on, but... Hang on, I'm going to move this down so it stops being on top of that. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Hourglass. And thank you again, Gingerlux. You didn't have to do that. I guess, Sonashi, it's for, like, people who have, like, 100 subs but 1,000 viewers, that kind of a thing. Doesn't really apply to me. So, but that will be an option. There's also, like, a sub-only other mode. Hang on, let me actually look this up. I don't even remember all the modes I get for subscribers. Give me a second, guys. Oh, yes, that's right. I forgot the... I forgot the underhanded reason to have sub-only mode. And that's so that you could basically, oh, cool. So that you can try and encourage people to sub by letting them talk, which is also not applying to me. That's kind of scummy. Okay. No. Where's my... There it is. Okay, so... We've got... Nope, not that. There we go. Okay. So we've got the subscriber-only mode. We also have a thing where we can turn on slow mode, which I've never actually turned on, ever. And what slow mode means is basically it's to prevent the chat from going zoom. Obviously, that doesn't really apply to me. I read fast, and I don't have that many viewers. However, there is an option to make it so that subscribers are not affected by slow mode. So everyone else posts something and it shows up in a minute. You guys post something and it shows up immediately. I can also make it so that only subscribers can watch broadcasts and highlights. Still not sure why I'd do that. And, of course, I can make it so that only subscribers can have access to quality options on my videos, which I definitely don't want, because having quality options on my videos or my streams is something I've been wanting for years at this point. As an affiliate, I finally have some priority when it comes to quality options. Finally. So I don't really want to do that. So, it looks like that's it as far as my options here. Let me check something really quick. Now, one other thing really quick. Because I'm an affiliate, I actually can't tell you guys... I'm saying that wrong. I can't design a custom emote. It has to be Thelor and then some kind of suffix. If you don't understand, T-H-E-L-O-R. It has to be Thelor something. That's going to be the subscriber thing. The emote. The subscriber emote. I think only subscribers get the emote, by the way. And I don't think I can change that. I'm not sure. I will know better when I finally upload one, which obviously I have not done yet. If I can change them, it will. I'll just upload one right now and find out how it works out. Yeah, I know, right, SJ? The Lornaman. The Loregrod. Ooh, the Loregrod. There we go. Seriously, though, what do you think I should put it? Okay, so apparently only subs get emotes, according to Gnarlex. Well, that sucks. Whatever. Whatever. Why don't I... Do I already have this set up? I feel like I do. Because I already did this work last night. I did. So there's the small one. There's the medium one. There's the large one. I'm just going to upload this really quick. We'll try and do this live. What should I call it? Other than something silly, like a real thing. What should I call it? Because it has to start with T-H-E-L-O-R. What's quick and easy to type, guys, for the emote? The lore, what? The lar. Subscribing gives me money. Following does not. There's actually other reasons, but that's the biggest one, DeNoble. The lore coin? I actually like the lore coin. It's descriptive, and it's exactly what it is. Hey, Captain Socialism. Oh, right. I can't change that either. Hang on. There's one other thing here really quick. So it's always going to like, if we make an E in lore, the E will always be capitalized. Because of the way this works. It's going to be T-H-E-L-O-R, and then whatever the next letter is capitalized. Again, I have no control over that. So it would be like, here, I'll type it out in chat. Or we could do like that. I cannot avoid the. I have no, like I said, I have no choice over this. So we could either do the lore coin or the lore coin and just get rid of the E. What do you guys prefer? The Laurier sucks. Okay, capital C. Now again, if you type this out, no E when you're typing this out. So I'll go ahead and do coin. There we go. So the lore coin, let's submit. Let's see what it does. There we go. Oh, it's pending. Oh, I was hoping to check it out like right now and see how it works. So it's been like the lore coin, because there's no E there. I don't know how long it's going to take them to approve my emote. Hopefully it'll be approved soon. Thank you, Captain Socialism. Yeah, what Psychotic is saying. I kind of forgot about that. I knew that, I just forgot about it. Captain Socialism just donated money, guys. Anyone else appreciate the irony there? I have 30 subscribers right now, guys. That sounds like a really small number. That's way more than I was expecting. I never expected anything from the subscriber system. I always wanted a partnership for the other benefits of being a partner, not the sub system. $31 subscribers. Thank you, Maidfist. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really do. I'm getting a little emotional because I'm really tired. I shouldn't be this emotional. Apologies, guys. Apologies. Yeah, so, hi. Oh, here, I can specifically look at subscriptions. Okay, so I'm looking at my subscriptions, and it's like, there was like 3 on Wednesday or whatever. Or 2. There were 2 on Wednesday when it first went in. And then there's like this gargantuan spike on Friday when I streamed. And then a big old spike on Saturday when I streamed, and then it hasn't gotten the data for today yet. But BioWare was great. They just aren't anymore. Anyways, God, I'm getting way off topic. So, I don't know how long it's going to take for them to approve that. I don't even know if I'm going to get, like, a notification saying, your emote has been approved. If I do, I'll check it periodically. As we're going to be restreaming throughout the week, if anybody wants to pop in and try it out, you are more than welcome to. No, Saldir. No. God, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. Please. Unless you have Amazon Prime. That's the variance. Oh, God. By the way, SGDQ has a Discord now. I highly recommend you do not get into it. It's a mess. I mean, seriously, it's a mess. Where's the, Hang on a second, guys. Well, if you have Amazon Prime, that's different. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, I've actually looked into the Discord, and even though the marathon hasn't even started yet, it's already an absolute mess. That's not surprising, though. I mean, no offense, but when you have an attendee range of 100,000 people, you're going to have some mess. You know, that's just unavoidable. Hang on, Captain. Could someone give Captain Socialism the Kashi emote real quick? That we already have. Please and thank you. Alright, pull up this. Oh yeah, lots of trolling, lots of people insulting each other, lots of just random, rampant Thank you, Volcanto. Kashi. Now, you might not see those on your end, Captain Socialism. You should see those here. On my chat. I've got going on right here. And that's because, long story short, the last time I applied for partnership, which was before this whole affiliate thing even started, I got sick of it because they told me no. They gave me a canned message, even though I actually had like one of my highest viewing spikes in a long time. So I said, fine, screw them. And I went and got a Twitch plugin and signed it up for my thing and set up like 15 or so custom emotes because screw it. I was sick of waiting around for it. And I set it up on the OBS so you could at least see them here, even if you don't. Thank you, Ginger Ninja. Appreciate it. Thank you. The Medio Core. I don't even recognize your name, but I'm still appreciative. Thank you. Oh, damn it, guys. No sub. Sub. Is this it? Real quick, Lurker, what's the program we're using now instead of Livestreamer? I don't even remember what it's called. Ah! Look, Mega Man, he's got this going on, dude. He's just cool. It's he's got this going on. Okay, it's not live yet. Stream link, that's it. Thank you. Where the hell did I install that? Even though it wasn't working. I just gotta remember where I installed it, because that's how I'm gonna be watching myself. Thanks, Uthor. Thank you very much, Uthor. Appreciate it. At some point, we might even have an emote for you guys. A new emote. Powerful emote. Oh my god, that's right. I've got a little indicator saying how many people watching are subs, and it's a lot of you. Jeez Louise. I can't remember how to fire this up. I don't remember how to fire up Streamlink. I thought I made a custom... Oh, where did I put that? Yeah, I kind of threw this together on the fly during E3 for the restream. I'm not going to be doing it that way, by the way. I'm just going to rehost it, and that'll be a lot simpler. Theoretically, they should be starting in about half an hour. Financially, I don't believe there's any difference financially. I'm pretty sure that no matter what, 50% of it goes to Twitch and 50% of it goes to me. I'm pretty sure that's cut in stone. That's right. Valvedrix, it's time to remove your moderator badge. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Mass Effect 3, I think, Corwin? Oh, you mean like... Thank you, Sildear. I appreciate it. And anyone else ever have that problem where you're grateful and you're worried that you don't sound grateful? Like, I don't have a lot of anxiety issues in my life, but that is one of them. I always worry that people, that like, I'm not properly explaining how I actually feel. I actually did a whole video about that, about how I have to act in order to present how I actually feel. Anyone remember that? So I am grateful, even if I don't sound like it, I swear. Anyways. I honestly, part of where that comes from for me, if I can talk about that for a moment, is because I've seen too many people be fake on camera. And I'm on camera, so I worry that you think I'm being fake because I'm on camera. Because I've seen people be fake on camera, you know? And so that worries me. Although, yeah, I've had the exact same problem, Gingerlocks, at birthdays and Christmas. I used to feel so guilty. Because when I was a lot younger, it was even more difficult for me to express emotions in general. Again, I've talked about that problem I have. And so I'm sitting there and I'm opening these presents and I'm like, oh, dude, what I'm thinking is, God, this is so incredibly amazing. And what comes out is, oh, wow, thanks, Grandma. And I'm like, oh, God, no, that sounds terrible. So I would get up in the middle of it and rush over and give my grandmother a hug. It took a few years, this is not a joke, of Christmas visits, until finally my grandparents and my mom got together and say, we know you're thankful. You don't have to stop in between every single present just to make sure we know you're thankful. We do understand. Yeah. I burst into tears. Yeah, I was just saying, I bet a bunch of you... oh, you're raising hand for something else. Damn it, Hourglass. Stop that. I bet a bunch of you have felt a similar anxiety, to some extent or another, in your lives. Honestly, I think most human beings understand anxiety to some extent or another. You know? About something or another. Now, I don't even know how to be fake. Stop being nice. We know. No mug raising. I don't even have a mug. I mean, I've got my Polar. Damn it, Shadow Machine. Thank you. This is basically replaced Canada Dry for me. Polar. It's this whole new brand. They don't actually have Canada Dry here, so I have to rely on Polar. It's good stuff, though. It is good stuff. It's more expensive, but I want my damn seltzer water. Oh, hi, Nerozaz. What's up? Oh, yeah, right. Hang on. I'm going to be fake. You ready for this, guys? We here, the Lore Walkers, are very excited about having you guys being part of the Lore Walkers. We think that... help. I don't know. I'm not good at this. Fourscore, 7 years ago. I don't know what to say. No, that is my EA supervillain presentation. Mineral water refers to like a type that has a bit of something in it. I don't even remember what it is. It's like sodium or something like that. Seltzer water is just carbonated water. It is just water with carbonation, and that's the difference. Polar's from New England, really? Let's see here. Oh, Massachusetts. What do you know? I don't even know who owns this company. Oh yeah, sorry. Exclusive. On the forums. I did, Saldir. I did. I'm sorry. I actually meant to respond to you, and I just haven't had time. I'm so sorry. I got it last night. Let's see. I'm going to look at it right now. Information on how to proceed. What software do I use to record? I can enter that right now. OBS. You want to use OBS? To stream mobile games, you need a Bluetooth receiver in your computer. That's important. And you need a program called Lonely Screen. Hardware, you want a decent rig, especially on the CPU side of things. I don't have any specific recommendations there. As far as general advice, general advice. Don't do this. I'm actually being kind of serious. It is my opinion that too many people try to put on a persona, and honestly, I feel like that detracts from their presentation. I never liked Frank... oh god, I still can't think of his name. The guy Boogie2988 pretended to be. I never liked Angry Joe when he was being angry. You know, don't try to put on a frickin' mask unless you're just committing to that as a role. Just get used to it. And get used to Francis, thank you, Francis. And get used to speaking and stick with it. Sure, I'll put it in writing right now. OBS for streaming. Lonely Screen for capturing phone. Also need a Bluetooth receiver and computer. Be yourself, unless you want to be a character. Bam! Advice. Sent. Done. Well, actually, there's a pretty obvious answer to that, Kemek. They're the ones who have bothered putting the money into it. I mean, if you think about it. Unless I'm misunderstanding your question. Actually, ditto, Prog. For a while, I thought Francis was Boogie2988. And, he's not. And once I discovered that, I was like, oh, okay. Because I just don't like that type of humor, in my opinion. Nothing against it. Nothing against anyone who likes it. It's just not my thing, you know. It's like Minions, for example. I don't find the Minions funny. Just my opinion. But then again, I have a very weird sense of humor, so what the hell do I know? Oh, yes, and as Adam Suida says, this is actually very important. If you actually want to try, don't give up. I know that sounds really stupid and cliche, but what I mean by that is I see so many people in virtually every aspect of life who jump into something they really want to try, and they give it a go of a few months, and then they give up because they're not getting anywhere. Unless you get amazingly lucky, you are not going to get anywhere in a few months. I was actually on YouTube for about a year and a half before the Mass Effect 3 thing. And the Mass Effect 3 thing happened, and then I started getting more viewers, but I still couldn't actually make that a job until... Nine. 21 months after that. So, year and a half, and then 21 months from starting recording videos on YouTube to actually making this a career. And I'm not, I mean, obviously that's just my own perspective, and it's going to vary for you, but that has been my experience with basically everything. You need to work up to things, and honestly, you might not even make it eventually, but you always have to keep working on it before you get to the point where it really goes anywhere. Make sense? I mean, yes, we all, as Gary points out, we actually, even before that, we had the blog, the website blog, before I ever started doing videos, so. That's true. BioWare and EA gave me a job. And I'm happy about that, actually. Bungled into it. Didn't really intend it, but, you know, whatever. What I need to do is I need to go back and delete all those old videos. What to pay is what we called it, Gary. I knew it, Wanta! You secretly hate me. No, I'm kidding. Oh, the blog itself. Oh, I don't remember. It was like Rather Be Gaming, I want to say, something like that. I can't remember the exact phrasing. It was something along those lines. Oh, I know, right, Meadfist? I remember when I actually had aspirations to become a game developer. Silly me. I can't stand my older videos. I know every YouTube creator says that, but it's true. I look at the older stuff and I am embarrassed by my older videos. I meander. I wasn't talking with a script or with notes, and I hadn't played the game recently. So, and of course I was talking in between the moments in my time. So I would just basically sit down and say, "Oh, you want me to talk about FF5? Okay." And I would just talk off the top of my head about FF5. It's one of the reasons the older videos are so much longer than the new ones, and it's one of the reasons that they're so crap, in my opinion, of course. The hair. I've had long hair. I think as of this moment, I have been bald longer than I've had long hair. That's kind of a weird thought. I shouldn't say bald. I'm shaved. Yes, if I had infinite time, I would be redoing like all of the older content. Probably up to the Half-Life 2 Rumination, possibly further than that. I'd have to think about it. Of course, I mean, I have the same thing about everything I do. I look at my older songs and I'm like, ugh. Or I look at my older writings, written works, and I go, ugh. I hope so, SJ. I really hope so. Ah, Breath of Fire. I need to replay Breath of Fire 2 again someday. As much as that game has issues, I still very much like Breath of Fire 2. Breath of Fire 3 as well, although Breath of Fire 3 actually has worse issues in some ways. Which video is my least favorite? That's a good question. Let me think about that for a moment. I'd have to say probably this one. No, I would have to say the BioShock video I was very unhappy with. Even though I mean, actually, that's not true. I shouldn't say that. BioShock video was okay. It's just it was misrepresented. I never played Breath of Fire 4. I mean, I know a decent amount about Breath of Fire 4 and the cannon that shoots people's love at people. Anyways, but I had one in mind and I just lost it. I am so tired, guys. I'm sorry. I think it's not Half-Life. It's not KOTOR. I forgot it. I had one in mind. The difference... there's actually a bunch of differences, James Carmichael. Legitimately. AGDQ, of course, is in January, and SGDQ is, of course, in the summer, usually in July. But that's not the real difference. They are effectively different groups. I mean, they're under the same umbrella. They're part of the same corporation or whatever, if you want to call it that, same organization. And a lot of the people behind the scenes... Yeah, but I thought the KOTOR one was okay, other than completely forgetting Kandris existed. Twice, by the way. I forgot about him in KOTOR 2 as well. But, different directors, I think is the way I want to put that. There's different people in charge of the SGDQ group and the AGDQ group. AGDQ usually puts money forth towards the Prevent Charity Foundation. That's up for debate in the future. SGDQ almost universally presents for Médecins Sans Frontières, which is the Doctors Without Borders, which is actually one of the very few charity groups in the world that I actually fully support. It's one of the reasons I want to plug this so much. And the SGDQ group is almost always universally considered to be the smaller thing. Like AGDQ is the... I can't think of what it's called in F1. The Prevent Charity Foundation. I remember that. Wait, did I say it again? The Prevent Cancer Foundation. Sorry. SGDQ begins in about 27 minutes here. Or no, excuse me, 17 minutes. My bad. No, not the Grand Prix. There's a term for, like, the lead driver and the secondary driver. And the lead driver is the one that gets all the attention and all the money and all the, you know, it's you get the main focus. You're the primary lead driver. Secondary group is like we're totally back here and we're not good and we're not great or anything like that. It's kind of a political thing. You know, you've got your, no, not pole position. You've got your main and you've got your secondary. Main is AGDQ. That's the rock star. That's the one everyone knows about. That's the one that gets all the attention from everyone. SGDQ is the one that gets less attention. Now, that's kind of been going away over the last few years, but back in the day, AGDQ would have like a whole like small amphitheater set to itself, and SGDQ would get a room that's like twice the size of my room here, for example. So, just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. But that has been going away over the last few years. Now, of course, Gary is referring to the actual start of the event, which I am not referring to. I am referring to the beginning of their pre-launch event, which, unless I am mistaken, will be starting in 16 minutes. Oh, I remember. I've actually been, for those of you who know, I've actually been following the GDQs back when they weren't called that. I've been following them since 2010, which is back when they were in Essentia's basement. Well, hang on. I've been having trouble getting the schedule page to load at all. It's being hammered or something. Hopefully it's not actually literally being DDoS'd, because that would be scummy. Come on. It's not shady. It was just a bunch of geeks getting together to support a charity and playing games quickly. Okay, so is this... Hang on. So... Okay, maybe they did change it. When I actually looked this up a while ago, this is weeks ago, everything was indicating that it would be starting at 15 minutes from now for the pre-show. It looks like it's starting an hour and 15 minutes from now for the pre-show. Whatever. Did I stop recording? No, I haven't stopped recording. Bye, everyone watching us on YouTube.